Ranking all the
Let me touch your skin.
Ranking all the Legion traits, Part 19, The Emperor's Children? As rightly pointed out by TTV Swincher, we've not covered the latest addition to the Legion's lineup, and I finally got my hands on the copy of the book. These rules can be found in the Exemplary Battles book, Volume 1. Consider this an unofficial Part 2 for the Emperor's Children. My name is Mechanid, let's get started. After making a shooting attack against a unit entirely composed of models with this rule, its controller may choose to have that unit become stupefied. Stupefied units get a load of effects. The unit cannot react and only make snapshots. The unit cannot be pinned, blinded, or concussed. The unit doesn't have to take morale checks in the movement or shooting phases. All models in the stupefied squad get +1 strength. Any charges they make are counted as disordered. Charged enemy units do not fight Initiative 1 if they charge through terrain against a stupefied unit. And when you suffer a wound that is not an instant death wound, you get a 6+ damage mitigation roll. Fearless units get +1 to this roll, which is nice. And it wears off at the end of turn. Basically, when an Emperor's Children unit is shot, they can choose to apply both buffs and debuffs to that unit. Now, because this rule only cares about a shooting attack, it means it can also trigger from things like Interceptor and Overwatch reactions, and not just attacks made in the shooting phase, letting you be more flexible when or if a unit becomes stupefied. Also, giving you extra strength and being able to ignore pinned, concussed, and blind means you'll be immune to most of those debuffs that can really neuter a unit in close combat. That, coupled with the strength bonus, means you'll be on equal or better footing than most infantry in melee. The stupefied damage mitigation can give your models another level of toughness, especially on models like Dreadnoughts, which don't usually get damage mitigation rolls. However, my issue with this rule is that it's opponent dependent and requires them to do something to you to get them to trigger. Don't get me wrong, being shot at is the most common thing to happen to your guys in the Age of Darkness. However, it still requires you to be on the receiving end of punishment, and unlike traits like the Iron Hands, which is always on, this trait requires you to accept debuffs in exchange for its upsides. Also, since a stupefied unit always makes disordered charges, means you're going to lose out on that +1 attack bonus for charging. So in effect, you're swapping +1 attack per guy for +1 strength and a 6+ feel no pain. Not a bad trait, but one that you will need to consider if it's a worthy trait. Finally, this trait will do little to support vehicles, since the damage mitigation roll specifies wound lost, not hull point. For all the pros and cons, I'm putting this trait in a C tier. While not bad, its requirements and bloated wording leave a bad taste in my mouth. And while a very thematic and fluffy rule, it's not enough to elevate the fallen sons of Fulgrim. Which Legion do you think will get extra Hereticus rules next? My bet is for World Eaters or maybe the Sons of Horus. Stay tuned for more, as next week we're back to the rights of war. My name is Mechanid, thanks for watching.